The coveted 4K, one of the hardest badges to get naturally, the equivalent of killing 20 purple shielded players instantly, seems almost impossible. Well, not if you know the little things that can make and break what's actually keeping you from dropping so much damage in a singular match. Today, I'm going to be reviewing one of the 2 4Ks that I dropped the other day on stream, and I'll be breaking down my thought process on how I attacked fights, my methods to keep myself from getting knocked during the fights, and the techniques that I use to deal more consistent damage, which, as you might have guessed, helps you closer reach for those 4Ks. Getting better at Apex has never been easier. So if you enjoy these types of free guides and videos, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on to stay up to date and ahead of everyone else, and make sure to comment coaching if you want a chance to win a free 1v1 coaching session with me in the firing range. If you don't want to wait and you want to skip the line, make sure to book a coaching session with me directly from my website, link in the description down below. As well, if you enjoy my thought process breakdown over how I drop my own 4Ks, make sure to comment who your favorite streamer or Apex content creator is so that we can review their gameplay. If you want your own clips reviewed, make sure to join our Discord server linked in the description down below so that I can also review your clips in a later video coming up really soon. That being said, let's hop on into today's video. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get it. All right, the first 4K that we're going to be going over today is one of the 4Ks I ended up dropping on stream later during the day. Ash in general is just one of those legends that kind of helps you make a lot of different plays. So, you know, it doesn't really matter what legend you play as long as you play someone that you are comfortable making various plays either aggressively or defensively. Now, as you can see, we are dropping, I wouldn't necessarily say hot. I'm not dropping into the middle of all the chaos, but I am dropping around where there should be a lot of different people. The reason why I'm typically doing, dropping on the outside instead of dropping on the inside of where everything is purely for the fact that if I drop into the middle, it's really a 50-50 if I get loot. On top of that as well, I can't really control how much damage I'm willing to take simply because at any given moment, people could be swinging me from every single direction. So by working from the outside of a POI or the outside of a fight into where everything is happening, you have a lot more control over 1, how much damage you're willing to take, 2, you can actually get some loot off the ground, and 3, you can choose when you want to start engaging, when you want to start working your way into situations, when you want to pull out of situations. You just have so much more control. Now, after I get some loot that I'm comfortable with, I don't need to be completely stacked. My goal is to start making sure that I'm putting myself into situations where I know there are people. This doesn't necessarily mean that I'm trying to swing everyone, but it purely means that I'm just trying to see different situations. Unfortunately, I kind of start this game off pretty rough. I'm not really paying that much attention. I'm getting pretty tired towards the end of my stream. So I kind of just zipped on it, like you saw, into the middle of the fight without that much control over what's happening. Got shit on, dropped down, had to get picked up. Now that we're kind of back up and running, really super simple and obvious, we're just going to get a reset here, accidentally pop a syringe instead of the medkit. I don't know how I managed to do that. What's really important right now is that we're listening to where I'm hearing audio come from. I'm hearing audio, if you were listening with a headset, this will be a lot more apparent. I'm hearing audio top right, so I know that once I start engaging to this area, I should be looking to engage or put myself into a position that looks at where that audio is coming. Now right here, I can't really see anyone, so I'm trying to figure out where am I hearing people play. I knew that a caustic threw a trap right there, but there's no pressure being put on me. So because there's nothing happening, I'm going to make sure, again, I'm looking for what is happening. Climb up, looking at where I'm hearing audio. And something that's really key right here is that I'm putting myself into positions where, again, I will be able to see what is happening. Right now, I hit this person. I know a hurt person isn't going to want to look at me, so I position myself to keep looking at someone who I want to fight. Making sure that I'm not getting pushed, grab some loot to make sure that if I do get pushed, I'll be able to actually continue to fight. If I have to drop down, I'll be fine. And now that I realize, okay, there's something actually happening, and I'm just going to take my time and do whatever I need to do. Now I'm going to back up and we're going to kind of like recap a couple of things I'm not able to talk about in like every single aspect of the fight. Now, when I start to climb up here and then I realize that I have this player right here in front of me, something that I make sure to do is stand still so that I can focus on completely controlling my recoil. He wasn't moving, which means that I don't have to track. I just need to focus on my recoil technique. Unlike in that situation right there with the lifeline, she was actually moving. So what I try to do is I try to mirror my body's movement to how I see her moving. That way I can focus a little bit more on my tracking and my accuracy. And right here, super simple. I hit a wall jump around the corner. That way, I just take as little damage as possible while I'm trying to finish this fight. That way, in case if I do get third-partied right away, having that extra little bit of HP will let me play with whatever kind of goal I have in mind. Taking that fight, leaving, and not getting shit on because I have extra HP. Those little moments where you keep up your HP ever so slightly make a big difference with keeping you in the game. A theme that we're going to see a lot today is the more that I can manage my health, the easier it's going to be to keep fighting, and the more that I keep fighting, the more damage I get. Alright, so now I'm ready to start hopping back into some fights. I'm hearing some audio coming. I'm trying to figure out where exactly it's coming from. And then once I figure out, oh, it's actually happening up top over here, I'm going to make sure that I put myself into this fight. I want to put myself into a position that will overlook where people are playing so that I can force a lot of damage onto whoever is stuck out into the open. A really important thing when it comes to dropping 4Ks is that we're not trying to react to if people are in the open, but more that we're trying to figure out where people are and force them to be in the open, which forces them to take damage from us. Now, this can be you just position yourself to get a good angle on someone and now they're exposed, or it could be kind of how I did right there, where I actually swung those players and locked them into a fight that they would have to take. When we go back and we rewatch this clip and I start recognizing, okay, there's people who are fighting on like the roof of the building in front of me, instead of taking the gravity cannon and like landing on everyone and fighting them, I'm actually going to portal to the height, which means that if people want to fight me, then they have to work on climbing up into me. Just like right here, this Cossack who's climbing, unfortunately, he kind of, caught the short end of the stick and got stuck in the open. But him simply climbing up means that his gun has to drop, and it gives me the free chance to shoot people. Now, because there was so much happening up there and I didn't have that much HP, that's actually why I chose to leave, even though technically I was in high ground. If I had chose to stay, I didn't have enough HP where I would be able to keep people from just climbing on me and shitting on me. Like, as if I had full HP, I would be willing to take a little bit of damage, knowing that I could one-mag them. In this case, not having full HP would just make it that much harder to defend against me in a situation where people really wanted to push me. So I backed off before something bad happened. This way I'm being proactive with managing and keeping myself alive. And because I'm not getting knocked, I'm able to keep playing, keep looking for damage, and keep picking up kills. This is going to be, again, a really important thing that you have to focus on. You should be leaving fights before you actually need to in order to stay alive. Otherwise, what's going to happen is when you try to leave, it's already too late. You've taken too much damage, and you're going to get forced to a lot of situations that you really don't want to be in. All right, so now we're taking this fight. We dropped down. We landed on a whole new team. As of right now, I'm not necessarily completely ready to take this fight. They had a drill on that door, which was going to keep me from peeking it effectively. So what I ended up doing was I threw arc stars on that door to keep them from pushing out while I got ready to make my swings happen. Unfortunately, after I got that knock, I didn't recognize that this guy was going to push me in the way that he did. I kind of got bamboozled, caught off guard. But hey, my teammate clutched it and, came through with the win for us right there. Now, during this fight, there were a lot of key moments that took place. Key moment number one, I'm not able to peek this door because they have a drill that is keeping me off of it. So, key moment number two, I throw an arc star to push people back out into the open off of the corners. Now, because they can't play tight around the corners, I can catch them in the open and get, hopefully, a free one mag on them. I tried to create some space so that I could leave the situation, hopefully get healthy. Realistically, I should have created more space because I did not back away far enough to avoid a really simple push. So I got a free kill, and then I became a free kill by not taking away the option of easily getting on top of me. Now, you can already start to see a lot of what is happening in our gunfights is controlling what can and cannot happen, not letting teams push us, and then setting ourselves up to be able to go and push other teams. Something really important about dropping 4Ks is that whole aspect, controlling fights. A lot of people, the reason why they have a hard time getting not just, consistent damage, but rather just getting damage in general. I coach a lot of people who have a really hard time even just dropping 500 damage in our ranked coaching sessions or in our regular coaching sessions, and I'm constantly dropping 2Ks and 3Ks. The main reason why is because they're simply not giving themselves the opportunity to shoot their gun. They're not controlling what's happening, and with that control, making what they want to happen, pushing, leaving, getting new angles. They're not making that a possibility or a reality. Now, there's so many different ways that you can learn to control fights, or that you can just kind of control them in general. One of those ways is going to be learning to manage and keep up your health, right? With the more health that you have, I talk a lot about this in coaching sessions and on stream and in other guides and stuff, but with the more health you have, the easier it's going to be to do what you want to do. Imagine you want to push a fight. It's kind of hard to do that on 1 HP. Imagine you're trying to leave a fight and it's all open area. Well, it's kind of hard to do that when you're on 1 HP. One of the main things that we want to start focusing on is learning how to manage our health to be able to do a lot of different things. The second thing that we want to learn how to do is just simple techniques to hit more shots. Like right here, I could have got an extra 200 damage on this player, but I was freaking out for no reason at all with my aim, and I just missed a lot of super easy shots on the legend that was really large and actually super easy to hit. But again, I didn't focus on what my goal was, just landing shots. And I did a lot of inputs that I didn't really need to do. All right, so now we're stuck in Storm. We need to, 1, keep putting in damage to drop a 4K. 2, we need to stay alive. And 3, we need to control the situation. Right now, I'm just taking my time to get in zone. There's no pressure being put on me, so I'm not really rushing anything. Storm doesn't hurt right now, so I'm not worrying about it. And I can't see people from where I currently, or where I just previously was. So I'm gonna put myself again into a position where I will be able to simply look at what is happening in front of me, and then off of how the fight's playing, I'll kind of play off of and work my way into it more and more and more, or back off, again, depending on how that fight's playing out. The very first thing that happened once we killed that caustic and we started to get held out in Storm is the simple fact that we are in a situation or in a position where it's going to be hard to shoot from. Every time that Storm ticks us, we're going to flinch, and it's going to be hard to shoot our gun. We also have a hard time looking at them simply because of the color of the Storm. So in general, trying to engage from a position that is hard to engage from doesn't make any sense. What does make sense is getting myself out of this difficult situation. So if I don't need to shoot my gun, I'm not going to shoot my gun. I'm going to rotate to different positions that will cut off that line of sight, like this building, so that they can't see us, and I can start slowly working my way up. Now that I'm realizing there's nothing happening to me, it's really important that I get healthy so that I can find a position to start making plays from. As I get off this med kit and I start hearing, okay, these sounds are happening or coming from this one spot right here, instead of getting into the middle of the fight where it's going to be hard to manage my health from people shooting from all directions, I'm going to get to the outside of the fight. Again, there's no pressure on me right now, so I'm going to make sure that I am putting out as much pressure as possible. I'm playing somewhat close to my corners, so that's easy to go back into cover if I need to. And as I start learning and kind of realizing, okay, no one's shooting at me, I'm going to make sure that I'm the one to look at them and then push them, put pressure on them. This was a third party, so it's really easy to kind of get myself involved. But again, at the end of the day, not every single fight is going to be a fair 1v1 or 3v3. Sometimes you're going to take these, very unfair situations for other teams, and you're going to get a lot of free, easy kills. But if you don't handle them properly, you're going to find that really easy fights are actually kind of tough. So throughout the entire course of getting held out, rotating, repositioning, getting myself back in, I managed my health and I took away options from other players. Tethering here is going to make sure that he can't push me when I get behind them if he does realize that I'm here. I'm putting pressure on other people before they pressure me. I look for them and not wait to see them. This means that when people start taking damage, they're going to already be at a disadvantage, and I can play harder and harder and harder off of this. And again, right here also, I'm not waiting to see anyone. I'm seeing them. I'm keeping my health up, and I'm putting pressure back on them before they pressure me. I'm always going to do the first thing. I'm going to be the first to move. I'm going to be the first to take pressure off. I'm going to be the first to put pressure back on. I'm going to be the first to keep up my health, and I'm going to be the first to re-engage. If I'm not the first at doing something, at the very least, I'm going to be the first to do the next thing. I'm going to be the first to leave, stay alive, and then I'm going to be the first to come back and kick some ass. So it's only the first ring, or it's only round 2. We already have over 1,300 damage off drop. We're already a quarter of the way there. We have 6 kills and 2 assists. We probably could have been a little bit further ahead, like closer to like 15 or 1,600 damage, if I was a little bit faster in certain situations, and I focused a little bit more on, my positioning, or like how I was shooting my gun. If I focus a little bit more on my technique, throughout the beginning of this match, I probably could have had an extra couple hundred damage. I might have even been closer to a 2k. You can also see I haven't really used anything fancy throughout the entire course of this game so far. The next game that we're going to cover, whether it be later in this video or in a different video, is going to have a lot more movement mechanics where I'm still dropping to 4k, but it's more movement based. Now again, everything so far has been technique based. Health management with very basic skills, shooting my gun and landing consistent shots with very basic skills, positioning myself to see people with very basic skills, all ability based. And because I've been using basic things very consistently, I've been able to consistently been shooting my gun. This is the biggest misconception when it comes to dropping 4Ks. You don't need to have crazy movement. You don't need to have crazy aim. You don't need to have crazy anything. You just have to be consistent at very basic things. Keeping up your health so that you can shoot, positioning so that you can see people to shoot, and then making sure that you are consistently making that thing happen again and again and again. All right, so let's back it up. Let's start talking about how we're going to take this next fight right here. I'm hearing a fight happen in the distance, so I know that, hey, there's no pressure on me. I know that there's something happening over there. If you don't want to fight me because, hey, you're already fighting someone else, that's fine. I'm going to make sure that I'm fighting you. Now, right now, there's a lot of people here, and I want to make sure that I can put in a lot of consistent damage really easily. And the easiest way to do that is by playing close. Obviously, playing close is a good way to get lots of damage, but it's also a good way to take a lot of damage. So we're going to go back. We're going to kind of cover a couple things that I did here to keep my health up a little bit and to keep that consistent pressure going on. Right now, I'm in a bad situation. I don't really have any HP, so I'm going to make sure that I try to create space, avoid getting swung because I stayed in one spot for a long time. I don't want that person to hear me and then come looking for me. Now, even though we had that one person knocked and the other person really hurt, I am kind of dragging this fight out for a while. My teammate is knocked. I don't want to get third-partied and have to fight 3 people instead of just 1. And I also wasn't full HP because I was getting shot at by the other team. Taking damage is going to force you to have to fight a little bit like lighter, a little bit slower. And taking damage is also a good way for other people to push you. So instead of just kind of, risking anything, I'm instead just going to completely back off and just work my way out of that situation, reset, full HP, and then come back and attack. When we go to the very beginning of this fight and we kind of rewatch this, there's also a lot of little things that are happening that's helping me do all these things consistently. Remember, 3 main things that we're trying to do: keep up our health, position to shoot, and control situations. Now, right now, I'm going to make sure that I can position myself to be able to shoot a lot of damage. And like I said before, by playing close, you're able to keep people on your screen longer and you can make them continuously get shot. By tethering this guy, I'm going to make sure I keep him here, and then I'm going to make sure that I hard focus him. But now I'm taking a lot of damage and I need to manage my health, so I'm going to hit that jump slide to bring myself closer to the door. The only reason why I didn't commit to sliding out of that fight was because I noticed he started missing his shots, and I noticed that I was hitting more than he was. So there was a really easy opportunity to commit into that situation, knowing that my magazine was bigger than his, knowing that I was a better player overall, and knowing also, hey, I'm actually really close to this door. If he does start to hit me, it's going to be really easy to leave. Now I'm focusing on getting my full reset off. I want to make sure that I'm able to, when I'm healthy, go back and start making things happen. Now I have the overflow amp, which is going to passively heal me, so I'm going to use this as an opportunity to reposition out of this fight, start healing myself back up, and then once I'm full HP, if I'm able to, I'm going to start attacking the situation. But I'm not able to. This team's holding me, and I don't know if they're going to try and push me because, well, if they're shooting me, maybe they know someone's knocked. So I'm just going to completely reset this fight, start again from scratch, get my guy back in, and then from here, we can just rock and roll and do what we need to do. Now, getting back into this fight, there's no pressure being put on me, so I'm going to make sure that I don't wait to see what happens, and I just go and make sure that something happens. Now, I saw the Wraith jump off the roof, so I'm going to make sure I drop down on her, catch her, and I'm going to force her into this fight by keeping my movement on top of her. This is when the other team finally decides that they're going to pull up. The one that was shooting at us for like the last 5 minutes. They pull up, they hit me really hard, and I thought I would be able to grab an armor swap and then back off using mouse and keyboard movement, but the box was way deeper into the building than I thought it was. Luckily, my teammate's actually not a bad Watson, fenced off of the doors that they should have pushed from, which is going to make it a little bit harder for them to get to the roof, jump down, and then work their way over to us. So this created a really big pause that I'm going to use as a way to create some space, fully reset, And hey, now there's no pressure being put on us. I'm going to be the one to reset, put pressure on them. Rinse and repeat. I'm going to start closing this space, and with the space closed, it's going to make it easier to force myself into these situations. I know this guy's really hurt, so I'm going to commit and get myself on him as hard as possible. And as soon as this lifeline pulled up, I already know that she's going to be coming out of the elevator. So I basically just end up pre-firing the elevator, and when I notice that I'm connecting more shots than she is, I just commit to this fight. Now, one more thing that I ended up doing that maybe a lot of people aren't going to notice because it's just so insanely simple, but when I look and I turn on this lifeline right here, I make sure to jump into a slide so that I can keep my body moving at what would be a faster movement speed as opposed to if I chose to just side strafe left or right. By walking, you move slower, and by sliding, you carry whatever speed you went into it with. So I was actually able to move faster on that lifeline and shoot her by simply sliding on her. Now, this next team is still in the same spot, and you notice how every single fight that I've taken so far, I have worked myself into them. I have made myself see them, but this other team that is across the road, they're just waiting to see us. It's one of the key reasons why they're not going to drop any kills, any damage, and they're not going to do anything consistently. I'm always going to consistently do what's going to help me accomplish my goal. See people. That helps me shoot them. That helps me do what I want to do. Now, this other team hit me with the smoke, so I actually can't see them walk up if they were going to walk up. I make sure to create space from where I could possibly get swung to avoid that situation. Now, luckily for me, this team is actually not that good. They didn't close any space on me, and because of that, I was able to just get back to being full HP or having a reset to where I can start looking to control the situation the way that I want to handle it. Now, again, the number one way that you're going to consistently get damage is by playing close to people. The closer you play, the easier it is to see them longer, force them into fights. If you just peek, they can unpeek whenever they want. So right now I'm waiting for my teammate to catch up to me. I'm just trying to see if I can slowly work my way over. And after breaking that one player, I know that he's going to be out of the fight, and this is a chance for me to take a 1v1 with this guy right here. Unfortunately, he gets away, and I didn't know that tethers wouldn't like hold you if you were like on a zip line or anything like that. So everyone gets away. It's all good. You don't have to force something. You can always just try again. Now this is where I start to get a little bit creative. When I heard them on the ground floor, I put an evac down so that I could play around the door without having to use my abilities to maneuver around like effectively and like really fast and stuff. By putting this evac down, it basically gives me a zip line that I can super jump on, redirect my momentum, and be hard to hit in a situation where I might be like really static, be playing still, and, you know, basically commit myself into a fight. Right here, I just pick up a super easy one mag on them, and that's a squad wipe. I controlled my health throughout the fight, and I continuously put people into the open instead of waiting to see them, which let me keep shooting my gun because I had the health to play with, and it let me keep shooting my gun because I was the one making sure I was able to do it based off of my position. When we come back, we start slowing this down, we can really start to see there's a lot of things that are happening all the time. Right now, like I said before, there's nothing happening, so I'm going to make sure I go to them. I hear them playing low ground, so I'm going to position myself into an area where I can see them on low ground. Unfortunately, I had the wrong sight on my gun. I thought I took it off. I didn't. But I'm not going to wait again to see what happens, how they play. I'm going to put them into the open. But shit, there's a guy pushing me. So I use my super jump to break his ankle. He's out in the open and has me locked into that fight. I'm going to super jump again to avoid damage and keep myself in this gunfight. Hit a couple circle tap strafes on him, dash to keep up my health and keep making him miss his shots. And now that he doesn't have as much ammo as I do in my magazine, I can just hard commit to this peek on him. There's no pressure being put on me. I'm going to reset, work my way back into the fight, thirst this guy so he doesn't get picked up. And oh shit, there's a guy here. What am I going to do? Circle strafe, make him miss shots, aim smooth, or not aim smooth, but rather mirror strafe to hit consistent shots and one mag him. Part of becoming a good, consistent, effective player is reading what is happening to you in that one very specific moment. And as you get better as players, you start to develop a lot of different skills or a lot of different plays. And what you can start to do is you can start with really fast thought process. You can recognize what the situation you're in, look through your playbook and go, you know what? This movement mechanic will help me with the issue I'm facing. Keeping up my health in a situation where I don't have any cover. So for example, right here, slide into the fight, I can't shoot him, I need to avoid taking damage. Super jump, land a couple shots on him, super jump again to avoid more damage. My gun's not loaded, I can't shoot. Circle strafe to avoid damage while I get the reload off. Dash to break his ankle so that I can lock him into this fight. And because I made him miss so much, I was able to commit him and really focus on my aim. And the exact same thing happens right here. I slide down, I'm not full HP, I accidentally waste all of my ammo on this guy. Now I'm stuck in the open. How do I manage my health? I need to circle strafe to keep up my HP. But now my goal's changed. I have a bigger magazine than him. My goal is to deal more damage, so I'm going to focus on hitting that mirror strafe, following his movement with my movement, and giving myself the chance to land way more consistent damage than he ever could. Now we are 3/4 of the way through the match. There's only 2 teams, and I need 1,000 more damage to drop a 4K. How am I going to drop 1,000 damage with only having, at the very most, 4 people to kill, because we're playing duos? I could, if I really wanted to, farm damage and just basically let people heal and over and over again and just keep picking up more and more damage. But if I were to do that, then that'd be kind of scummy, and I don't really think that farming is a, impressive thing to do. So I'm gonna, at my very best, just try to kill everybody, and if I get it, then I get it. Now, right now, I'm having a hard time kind of figuring out where everyone is. They're not in the spots that I think they are, so instead of staying in the open where I am getting fought, instead I'm just going to focus on keeping my health up, trying to really figure out what's happening by getting to the outside of the situation. That way I can work my way in at my own pace and figure out things as they develop. And now that I kind of have an idea of what's going on, I'm pretty sure they're in this general direction. I'm going to put myself into positions that will help me overlook and kind of see everything. Now I accidentally, or not accidentally, but I heard someone bottom right of me, so I'm looking for that sound. Oh, it's a decoy. All good. Climb up. And now all of a sudden, boom, someone pops up in front of me. Now this is one of those situations where I think I just got really lucky with having fought like really bad people, and I was able to just put out a lot of damage super easily because they didn't have good movement, and I used very basic techniques like aim smoothing and mirror strafing to land really consistent shots. As well, I used a couple very basic mechanics, and I didn't just use mechanics, I juggled between them. Juggling mechanics is basically bouncing between one mechanic to the next, to the next, to the next, which helps you change your goal depending on what is happening really quickly and really fast. So, for example, once I climb up here and I get caught in front of this person, I'm caught off guard. So the way that I'm going to make sure that I start this fight off well is by hitting a mirror strafe to hit more damage, circle strafe to avoid damage, and then rinse repeat on his teammate. Circle strafe to avoid damage, mirror strafe to lock in as much damage as possible on this player. By going after a specific goal, like dealing a lot of damage, it helps me focus on what my next goal is, managing my health. And by managing more of my health, I can focus on what my next goal is, dealing more damage. And by focusing on that goal, I'm able to keep always working towards the next thing in part of my gunfight or part of my gameplay. So by understanding what your goal is, it gets significantly easier to work towards the next thing. Now right now, the next thing for me is figuring out where the hell this team is playing. I thought that they were playing over here, they weren't. So now I'm thinking, you know what, they're probably just playing in zone. I'm gonna start working my way towards zone and kind of just seeing what's going on. Now again, working your way from the outside in, not just full sending. I want to make sure that I'm taking my time to put myself to the next piece of cover, move to the next corner, and then that way eventually I will probably, hopefully, find someone. Now right here, I start off the fight by taking damage, and I don't want to keep taking damage, so instead of focusing on shooting my gun, I focus on staying alive. The more health I can keep, the easier it's going to be to keep fighting. And because I'm using the overflow amp, I'm able to pop the shield cell really quick, and then passively heal while I try to make my next play, whether that's peeking someone or whether that's positioning myself to the next area. Now, because again, I don't wait to see people, I make myself see people. I focus on when this other Wraith isn't focusing on me, I ult on over to her, force her to fight me, and then when I realize I'm in a 1v2, I leave the fight before I get knocked. I create space, taking away their option to shoot me as much as they want, and by doing that, I'm able to start popping cells, syringes, and keeping pressure on this team. The more pressure I can put on a player or a team, the less they're going to engage me. And the less they engage me, the more pressure I can put on them. Again, nothing's really happening, so I'm looking to see if I can control what one or two players does, and then focus on forcing the situation. Right now, no one's peeking me, so I'm going to tether, try to keep him in this fight, lock him into that situation by swinging him, and now it's a free fight. I'm just going to focus on standing still, shooting my gun, and, well, getting a super easy win with the 4K. Apex, at the end of the day, in my opinion, is not a very complex game. It's just a lot of little basic simple things that you have to understand so that you can put them together to create what would be one awesome match. Really, at the end of the day, if your goal is to drop more consistent damage, there's 3 things that you need to keep in mind. Keeping up your health so that you can keep shooting, focusing on positioning yourself into situations where you will be able to shoot your gun, and third, making sure that you're playing off of what you do. That last one is going to be the hardest one. Understanding that when you do one action, a player's going to have to do something else to be able to counter and fight against you. And when you start to understand what players have to do in order to stay alive, it helps you better understand how you're going to try and counter their counter. And it really just becomes this game of, I know what you're going to do if you want to win, and I'm just going to constantly use that against you. Now, if you want to get better at understanding how to take fights in general and how to start doing what I'm doing throughout the entire course of this game, managing my health, controlling these situations, forcing situations, and playing off of what's happening, then make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications to always be the first one to watch any new and upcoming videos. As well, check out the links in the description down below where I have my coaching website linked so that you can book a one-on-one coaching session with me, the #1 Apex Legends coach. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and make sure to comment coaching if you want to learn how to drop more consistent 4Ks and have the chance to win a free coaching session with me in the firing range.